Hello everyone. So I'm about to watch this movie called Dear White People. The only thing I know about it is it's supposed to be pretty satirical, also at least somewhat funny. Yeah. I do know that I guess the main character in it is the same kid that was on that show, Everybody Hates Chris. Yeah. I was never really a big fan of that show, but I do remember this kid seemed like a fairly decent actor, so I'm about to watch this. Also got some Pop-Tarts and some beer, which is the breakfast of champions. No, I don't know. Well, maybe some champions consider it. Perhaps for some champions it is. I don't know. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and watch this. And I shall be back shortly to talk about it. Yeah. Okay, so just finished watching this. And I gotta say, definitely gives you a lot to think about. I mean, granted, yeah, it is very satirical. There's a lot of comedic elements to it, but at the same time, it points out a lot of hypocrisies and I guess I would say bullshit stereotypes. Pardon my language, but yeah, I don't know how else to describe it. Of course, I mean, granted, yeah, it is titled Dear White People, but it doesn't really point the blame at any one particular group. Though I will say, like, the first half of the movie, it does seem like it does kind of seem like, or rather, it definitely seems like it is pointing a lot of the blame at one particular group. But then eventually, as the story progresses, it becomes much more like all-encompassing and just really shines a light on the fact that, you know, there's just the fact that we even bother to adhere to certain labels, and that itself eventually becomes like a moot point, I guess you could say, or becomes that itself, like, you know, in other words, like to ascribe to subscribe to a particular label, that itself eventually becomes complicated, or rather complicates things, or I don't know, that's the way that I interpreted the overall message of this movie. But at the same time, I definitely noticed that it definitely brought up a lot of hypocrisies, a lot of stereotypes. And granted, it is at the college level or collegiate level. But I do believe it can also be applied to a much larger scale, as far as, you know, what society deems to be prejudicial or not prejudicial. It's very interesting. I mean, definitely, I mean, I would say the entire cast gives a very awesome performance throughout. Very realistic performance. Why this movie is not talked about more is beyond me. Well, I guess once you've seen this movie, I think at the same time you'll kind of understand why it's not talked about more. Very interesting, very intriguing. I don't really know how else to describe it. It's yeah, it is a comedy. There are a lot of comedic elements to it, but at the same time, a lot of satirical elements, and also a lot of very realistic elements to it, and far too many to ignore. And I mean, wow, it's just. I believe everyone should watch this movie. Definitely at least once. As far as the rating goes, I'm gonna have to give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, definitely a 9 out of 10. And yeah, just because granted, I guess this is supposed to be like a fictional story, but it is based on a lot of really profound truths. A lot of like realistic stuff, realistic prejudices, realistic stereotypes, and it's I do believe everybody should watch this movie. And I'm kind of surprised that it was so interesting, so intriguing, and I wish I had seen it a lot sooner, but at least I've already seen it, so again, I give it 9 out of 10. Definitely I recommend it to everybody. Watch it at least once. Of course, I will say, if you're easily offended by certain stereotypes, certain prejudicial things, you might not like it, but otherwise, again, I do recommend watching it at least once. So, yeah. That'll do for this movie review. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Till next time, keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.